is, this word, although normally referring to the present, now get this, this is beautiful, although referring to the present often has a future meaning, but is not synonymous with shall have been. It may have, however, a past signification, as in the sense of has been.
Clinton was right.
Clinton was right. It depends on what your definition of is. Are we talking about the past, the present, or the future? Somebody clarify the question and I will answer it. You notice that no one clarified the question. Okay? Now, we had 8 years of the finest defense lessons that money could buy, taxpayer money could buy. I don't recall. I don't seem to recollect. My memory fails me. I don't recall that conversation. I don't remember if she was there or not. There's a story. Okay? That's about words. And we're going to be using some more words as we go through the rest of the time, but that's all I'm going to concentrate on them. When they come up, I'll try and stop and point them out. Because I think that words and word games are just huge fun. You know, some people, you know, I quit playing golf, and so I got to play with words. We're going to talk about the UCC. And in the UCC, and by the way, you talk about some dry reading. That'll put you to sleep in a heartbeat. You ever have trouble sleeping, just break out a law book. You won't have any problem at all. I have 3 of them laying by my bed at night. It says, does the UCC apply? This is a little printout that I don't even remember where I got this, but it just came to us in the last few days. Maybe one of the guys brought it in, I don't remember. Does the UCC apply? Pine Builders versus U.S. It's right after the words, phrases, and definitions page. And look down there at note 2. Internal revenue. The purpose of a federal tax lien act is to fit federal tax liens into the priority scheme of the Uniform Commercial Code. You get that? The purpose of the Federal Tax Lien Act, in other words, they passed an act, the Federal Tax Lien Act, was to fit federal tax liens into the priority scheme of the Uniform Commercial Code. Now, what are they talking about when they say priority scheme? In the Uniform Commercial Code, on a UCC1 financing statement, the rule is first in time, first in line. Okay? Now, what that means is that if you go and lease a car, because they do this predominantly more with leasing than they do with buying on time or credit. If you lease a vehicle, chances are 95% that somebody's going to go file a UCC1 financing statement on that lease. Now, that is what's known as a security interest. Now, what happens then is if that person gets into other financial difficulty and a bunch of creditors come after him and they attempt to take his vehicle that he has leased, in order for anybody to attach that vehicle in any way, they have to be in front of or before that UCC1 filing financing statement. First in time, first in line. If you're there first, you notice that UCC1 has not only a date, a day, it has a time. It says right on the face of it what time it was stamped in. Why? Because somebody may have beat you a minute earlier. And it's first in time, first in line. It doesn't matter if it's 1 minute or 1 year. Okay? That's why when we go through the filing of the financing statement, we do a UCC 11 search. We see if there's anybody there. And we get that report. And it'll come back, no, there's nobody there. And we file a UCC 1 financing statement on that straw man. And 4 or 5 days later, we go and do another UCC 11. And now that one shows up. What is that? That's prima facie evidence that you have a claim and it will appear in the court. Why? Because it's got file stamps from the Secretary of State. Who is what? He's the top bookkeeper of the state. He's the top accountant. Okay? He's the secretary of the corporation. He keeps the books and the records. Okay? That's his job. That's what they're doing with the Federal Tax Lien Act. They made that thing, after the fact, fit into the priority scheme to give the IRS, who is not a government agency of the United States, standing and priority in the lien process so that they can more easily take your property. That's what that means. A federal tax lien arises when tax is assessed, but is not valid as against the holder of a security interest until notice has been filed. The IRS cannot get in front of that leaseholder with the UCC 1. Can't be done. They can be second, but they can't be first. You understand? They just have to be told, don't go away, Matt, just go away. I've got the superior claim. I've got the superior file. Okay? That's the importance of it. And it says, state law should be applied in determining whether property subject to a security agreement is in existence for purposes of the Federal Tax Lien Act governing priority between federal tax lien and security interest. In other words, then the state gets to determine who's really got the priority. Well, this is totally talking about the UCC. Now, if the state undoes that UCC and puts them first, they undo commerce everywhere. Okay? Every contract then is subject to null and void at a moment's notice. Okay? Can't be done. Now, on the next page, enact the Uniform Commercial Code for the District of Columbia and for other purposes. Be it enacted by the Senate and House of Representatives of the United States of America and Congress assembled that that the Uniform Commercial Code is enacted as Subtitle 1 of some title of the District of Columbia Code, in which it shall be designated Subtitle 1 Uniform Commercial Code, and then it goes on further. Okay? In other words, has anybody ever gone to a law library and found the District of Columbia Code? I looked all over State of Idaho Law Library and it ain't there. I know there is one. But it'll say in one of the books that the District of Columbia Code is the United States Code. So what they're saying is that when they enacted this Uniform Commercial Code, that it becomes the ruling entity of everything. Because we're in equity, we're under public policy, contract is the law, and the law is contract. That's why the judge can say, no matter what you think the law says, no matter what you think the law is, no matter what the Supreme Court says the law is, I will say what the law is. That's what the judge will say. I've heard it personally. The judge in my case, that you're going to see here in a little bit, actually said that to the jury in my case. I think, wow. She's going to say what the law is. I'm in trouble.